Hi, this is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today, I've got a real good surprise for you. This is one of my favorite comics of all time. This is X-Men Annual number 3. This was 1979. Look at that beautiful John Byrne corner box. The Awesome Attack of Archon. Archon first appeared in an Avengers comic. I don't remember which one, but he was a blatant Conan ripoff. So just imagine this is like Conan attacking the X-Men. How could you go wrong with that? And look at this cover. For years, this cover baffled me. I actually had to look up the artist because I was a little confused. But it's Frank Miller, and inked by Terry Austin. So how cool is that? For those of you who don't know, Frank Miller became famous for The Dark Knight Returns. He also did a wonderful Daredevil. Oh, he made his name on Daredevil 2 times too. The Death of Elektra, and then the Born Again series. Just great. He did so many good things, Frank Miller. And then Terry Austin. When Terry Austin inks you, your art just gets launched into the stratosphere. He's probably my favorite inker of all time, and he's notably famous for his classic X-Men run with John Byrne. Okay, so this is the cover. And you know what? It's a little backstory on this is this comic is in surprisingly good shape, considering this is one of the comics that lived in my folder that I brought to school every day. I had this blue just folder that had the Fantastic Four issue 153. It was the Fantastic Four running through the Great Refuge of Attilan, the hidden city of the Inhumans. Just a great Fantastic Four cover. I'll break that comic out one of these days and showcase that. But I had a folder, and inside was all my comics. And this one was in there for so long because I would read it, reread it, lend it to friends. And I can't believe how good this comic is, the condition. So let's look at the indicia. Okay, X-Men Annual, Volume 1, number 3, 1979 issue. Oh, I just realized some of you may not know. What are annuals? Annuals are bigger. Look at that. It's thicker. They come out once a year, and they're just like supplemental stories. Sometimes they'll be the culmination of a long story. Sometimes they'll be just standalones. And then, from the 90s to around now, they were like events. So like all the annuals will be tied in, like the Atlantis attacks or stuff like that. So like the Avengers Annual will have Atlantis attacks dealing with the Avengers dealing with, and the Fantastic Four Annual will have that. So it kind of doesn't really interfere with the main comic. And then they kind of put events into their own comics altogether. And annuals you don't really see annuals anymore. But they came out in the summer because the comic book sales always went up in the summer. So it was a neat way to get extra sales. That's really it. And they were double-sized issues, so the regular comics were like 35, 40 cents at this time, and then you'd had a double-sized annual for more money, extra issue. It was a blatant cash grab, but look at you get to see the quality of this, so nobody cared. It was really, really good. So here's the, let's look at the ad. We got Crossman guns, a lot of gun ads. America was a different place back in 1979. So here, look at that. It's not really a splash page. It's 3 panels. No, not really a splash. Definitely not a splash page. They don't have the credits yet. We'll talk about the credits. Oh, here are the credits right here. Chris Claremont, writer. Chris Claremont, he didn't invent the X-Men. He didn't even invent the new X-Men, but he took over the X-Men and made it his own. Everything you know about the X-Men, I don't know who you are, who's watching these videos, but there's one thing I do know. Anything you know about the X-Men, Chris Claremont came up with it. And this is George Perez and Terry Austin. For all I know, this is the only time that George Perez was inked by Terry Austin. So you're going to see like it's almost indistinguishable from John Byrne. And like I say in almost every video, George Perez and John Byrne are the 2 greatest comic book superhero artists. Tom Orts, letterer, Glennis Wynn is the colorist. He's one of my favorite colorists. R. Stern and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. Like I said, the Jim Shooter time was, I'm not even going to say arguably, the best Marvel time. Stan Lee opened the door, and then Jim Shooter just came out a running, if you ask me. And he's kind of controversial because he ruled with an iron fist, and a lot of these creative types didn't like that. Okay, so here we have just a newsstand. Hembeck, that's an inside joke because Fred Hembeck used to do humorous takes on Marvel Comics. So sings hairs, and then we have Burns drafting equipment. John Byrne being the famous artist who did X-Men at this particular point. This issue, in the regular run, what was it, X-Men 124? They had just finished fighting Arcade. So this is actually Dave Cockrum was drawing the X-Men at this point. No. It was the first time they fought Arcade, so it was definitely John Byrne. And then from a fire in the sky, boom! Look at that. That's the splash page. The splash page doesn't necessarily have to be the first page. Something wrong with my mouth. Whenever I start doing these videos, I guess I get a little nervous. And then boom! Look at this guy just appears, just teleported, an explosion in the sky. A lot of times when they do close-ups on background characters, they're like caricatures of actual people, but in this particular case, I don't know if it is or not. So here we are. Archon shows up, just ready to fight. And I love the lightning bolts in his back. And here, the ground is like fused into glass from the power of his. So these guys are like, we got to call the policemen and the Fantastic Four. Twice I have journeyed to Earth, once to destroy, once to conquer, and now it shrivels my soul to do so. I have come to beg. Okay, so here he is walking. He's walking down on Madison Avenue. I think this is the Frick Museum that is Avengers Mansion. In the comics, the Avengers lived in a mansion on Fifth Avenue. Stark Tower was a more recent addition to the X-Men, and I think the actual location is the Fripp Museum. I think I have to look that up, but I used to walk by it every day at going to work, and I took pictures of it, and I'll actually put those pictures that I took of what is the real life location of Avengers Mansion in my Facebook group for John's Long Box if you want to check it out. So here we have Jarvis going to get the milk. They still have milkmen, and he sees Archon. Jarvis is not a computer program. He's an actual person. He's Alfred to the Avengers. And here we have the bubble yum that I'm not going to talk about because I already goofed on that one. And Archon is all pissed. He's looking for Thor. I need Thor. And Archon, even though he's begging, he's not begging properly. Last time I checked, when you beg, you don't choke out people. And here's the Vizier telling him choking out the butler is not the best way to get Thor's help. And he's like, I don't know where Thor is. For details, see Thor's own comic. He's got problems in his own comic there, Archon. So Grand Vizier calms him down and tells him there's another person who could help. Her name is Storm, and she's in the X-Men. So he wants Thor or he wants Storm. Oh, look at this page. Look at that. Tell me George Perez isn't the best. I would love to see a George Perez, Terry Austin comic today, but I don't know what Terry Austin's up to, and I know that George Perez retiring. He retired saying that that comics aren't fun anymore. Look at that. I gotta pull out because this is the top portion. I guess I'll do it better this way. I'll just roll by. So here they are in the Danger Room. They just cleaned up after battling Arcade. Unfortunately, Nightcrawler's head is in the staple. Look at that classic Wolverine. Storm. Look at that. This is just my favorite. Okay, this particular story falls between X-Men 124 and 125. Look at that. Colossus. My words escape me. Colossus needs no help. Wolverine, this machine's fire blast cannot hurt my armored body, but I could easily hurt it. And a lot of bragging there, Peter, and it just takes him out. And here's Banshee. Oh yeah, Banshee's up there in the control room. Banshee had lost his powers fighting Moses Magnum. Moses Magnum was a supremely powerful villain with like earthquake abilities, and he was going to use his earthquake abilities to like sink Japan. and he set up like a frequency to vibrate the earth, and he used his sonic abilities to counteract it. And the strain was so much that it temporarily, well, it was permanent at the time, but later on, nothing's ever permanent. He got healed, but it lasted like, I would say like almost like 20 years comic book time that Banshee was powerless. Okay, look at the posing. Kind of funny, kind of awkward. I know how to fight. And there's Cyclops. He's the team leader. He's the strategy guy, teaching these guys how to fight. And that's like one thing that Marvel always does, is these big, strong guys necessarily aren't the best hand-to-hand combatants. They rely on their brute strength. And let's face it, when you have 100 tons, you could just throw a punch at somebody. So, and that'll take them out. So he's always trying to teach the superpowered guys how to actually fight. Like Captain America came in and trained the Thing and stuff like that, and Iron Fist came in and gave him some pointers on martial arts and everything like that. So here Banshee's you want to do this? So he there's a wind over here and a wind over here, and it kind of traps her, and she panics because Wolverine goes to help her, and tentacles are coming to grab him. What the flaming? Drag him away from Storm. And she's kind of freaking out. Look at that. Just so good. Because she's claustrophobic, and the winds are trapping her, kind of similar to the feeling of being entrapped. And he's like, relax, you could do it, you could do it. He's not helping because it's all part of training. And a passion for gold. Reed Richards, yes, he does it properly, because Reed Richards is a super genius. Twinkies will defeat you. If you like fruit pies, you are evil, and I dislike you. It's as simple as that. Fruit pies are filled with dead bugs. Okay, so she freaks out and just explodes the hell out of everything. And there's the every artist has their signature thing. Jack Kirby has the Kirby crackle. George Perez has the debris theory. And the debris theory is, if anything breaks, you draw 10 times the amount of debris as it would provide, and that just makes it all more dramatic. And look, you tell me he's wrong, and you're a liar. Okay, so of course a blade goes in, almost gets Banshee. Banshee's, oh no, it hit the main computer. What are the odds? Well, in a comic book, the odds are probably 100%. And the Danger Room goes berserkowitz. It specifically goes David Berserkowitz. So here's Nightcrawler jumping away from missiles. It's the Danger Room in the X-Men and the holodeck in Next Generation. As soon as you see them going into the Danger Room, as soon as you see Riker or anybody going into the holodeck, you know it's going to malfunction, and the safety protocols are going to be disengaged. It's just, hey, I'm going to go have a problem. That's what they should just say. So of course everything's going nuts. Like spike balls. Well, I guess rockets are going after Storm. Where's Colossus in here? I don't see him. There is Colossus over there. So he's got the fire extinguisher. He's sudsing everything up. And there's the emergency off switch. So boom, boom. Cyclops is looking at it. I love the little lines, the attention to detail. I know when I talked about X-Men #1, I was mentioning that Scott Summers, his name, he actually had to lift up his visor. He had to pick it up to shoot the beam. Well, now he has these over his ears. He could rotate them, and when he rotates them, this opens and closes. And a lot of times you actually see him putting his hands to his ears. Look at that. That's just great, this flaming robot. And he's blasted Wolverine free. Vorp. And he's throwing the robot at Wolverine. Just this classic teamwork. Now a variation on our fastball special. And Colossus throws the robot at Wolverine, and Wolverine just shreds it. I love that. It's just so cool. Hate to disappoint you, Petey, but Wolverine don't catch. He cuts. Because he's a tough guy. And at this point, Wolverine was still a mystery. We don't know anything about him. Other than his name was Logan. That's really it. Superhero dolls. And Storm is going, she's whirling around, dodging flame and spiky balls. And Scott's talking. And Nightcrawler, who hasn't really done much, is jumping around. So he's on the defensive, avoiding the spiky balls. And Oil comes, and he in a gravity physics defying. He slides on the oil and falls up. Sloosh. So he's like, okay, I'm just going to walk over. Nothing could stop me. So things, bing, bang, boom, things just hit him. And of course, the spring-loaded door, Lenin's ghost, hits him up into another one. And he's just, X-Men scatter. He's coming this way. So Petey over here, that's his real name, Peter Rasputin, is just being flung around like a pinball. And ka-choom. Right over there. And Wolverine's just smashing stuff. Just so much action. I would like to point out that we're in the 15th page and look at all the stuff that's going on. So he's over there. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. So you see, oh, here he is. Okay. He puts his hands and I couldn't try this stunt before. The extreme firing angle was too extreme. It's risky, but I got to strike with pinpoint accuracy at just the right amount of pressure. Storm, climb. What? Oh, and she jumps up and his beam goes through everything. Tech. And hits the button with tiny pressure, so it just activates the button and doesn't destroy it, and that turns off everything. Just look at the debris, the fire. Just looks like total chaos. Just so cool. What? They don't make comics like this anymore. How good is this? And he's like, what a mess. Now what? Make sure all the fire systems shut down. Everybody take the rest of the day off. The cleanup could wait till tomorrow. If you have no objections, I'll join you later. Right now, I prefer to be alone. So she freaked out because she's embarrassed because she panicked and freaked out. So, you know, I know Storm is like the ultra cool and stuff like that, but back then everybody had weaknesses and personalities and stuff. So, you know, I guess if you freak out and panic and cause a destruction and almost get everybody killed, you would be a little embarrassed. And I like this because they've used this room before. I think that they made like a blueprint of the Avengers mansion, and they stick to it because this actual panel, this room showed up in the X-Men 123. So here he's taking off his glasses, keeping his eyes closed, putting his sunglasses on, and you know, just giving her a pep talk because he's the leader. These days it's kind of fashionable to make Cyclops like the bad guy or whatever, but I always liked him because he was a guy under tremendous strain because his optic blast, he can't control them. And like Black Bolt, who can't control his voice power, he's living under the pressure of the slightest lapse of will, and he could kill people and harm people. So he's you know, Wolverine always calls him, you know, stick up his butt and stuff like that. But he's a good guy, great leader, very reserved because he cannot afford to not be reserved. Okay, and here he is, calming Storm down. He's got a skull full of surprises. He's more confident these days, more open to the X-Men, more aware of our feelings. So even she's impressed by his leadership, and she lives in the attic with the skylight. Makes sense. And she'd always, you would see her plants, and she would always like summon little clouds and water her plants. And this ominous figure in the shadows. What's going on? I feel, you know, she's sensitive to the weather, so she feels the air getting cool. She turns around, and here's Archon grabbing Storm, and Storm panics a little. You know, wouldn't you? All of a sudden, somebody in your room grabbing your throat, you can't breathe. I like this that she's portrayed as a human. You know, she has superpowers, but she could panic a little bit. And here is he just like, oh my God, today was a disaster. I hope I did a good job. You know, he's I got a lot of nerve giving her advice I barely understand on the inside of my head. So he feels like what's that? The imposter syndrome. You know, he gave good advice, but inside he's a wreck, which is human. And here's some old Irish wisdom from Sean Cassidy. Yes, that's his real name, Sean Cassidy. So he's the oldest X-Men, oldest in terms chronologically of his age. Not you know, he's the oldest X-Men in the fact that he was in the X-Men the longest. He's the oldest in number of years on the planet. So he's given some wisdom. And look, smoking inside, you know, it's a different time. And boom, what does this say? Scaram. Yeah, and he comes like, good Lord. And I warn you once, stripling, my mission is urgent. My needs desperate. Get my way and you'll pay in price in blood. Archon, you're Archon. I saw him on TV years ago. He came to destroy the Earth, but the Avengers stopped. Okay, so there we go. I didn't remember the numbers. Avengers 75 and 76. And Zark. Boom. Now, if you're a comic book insane person like I am, you know that Cyclops' blasts are power. It's like getting hit by a truck. They're not hot. They're not melty. They're not anything like that. This right here is the equivalent of getting punched by the Hulk. You know? So Cyclops' power blasts are concussive blast. Splash. So he just gets smashed out. There's Peter in his skivvies, and he just gets splashed into the water. And he's just like, Colossus, armor up. He may have attacked Storm. And boom. Transformed flesh and bone. And not near invulnerable metal. Organic steel is what he... And I remember when I was a kid, I thought the word organic meant hot. So I kind of thought he was hot metal at first. I'm a stupid kid. So he's putting his helmet on, comes out, and just punches Colossus. Yet! Wham. So he gives him a little crack. And Colossus gives him a big old wham. I love that. It just looks like it hurts. Oh boy, look at all these Star Wars toys. My friend Sean had this. I don't know how many hours we sat playing with that. Star Wars figures. Walrus Man, R5-D4, Power Droid, Death Star Droid, Boba Fett, Snaggletooth, Guido, Hammerhead, Luke Skywalker, X-Wing pilot. We had a few of these so we could do different, pretend they were different. Are these, no, are these the original 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, these are the original 12 Star Wars toys. I never had these. As far as I know, nobody I knew had this. Nobody I knew had this. Sean had this. And Sean, I think Carl had that. And we all, we were childhood friends. All played with them. So here's Archon got stopped by a tree. What a blow. It seems I've work cut out for me. I wish not... I would not wish it otherwise. So he's welcoming the challenge, and here comes the X-Men. I must note that Nightcrawler still hasn't done anything. So here comes, look at this great picture. And he's reaching in for his lightning bolts, and he throws a red one at Colossus. His red lightning bolt is coming too quickly to dodge. Arr! I am no man. I am an Empyrean. The armored one, Colossus, is my most powerful opponent and thereby most dangerous, so I must deal with him first. So here comes Wolverine. And note the size difference. Wolverine is tiny. He's 4'11". He's 4'11", 200 pounds. So he's this tiny, compact, muscle-bound ass kicker, and track. He just shatters his shield, and he goes to throw another lightning bolt at Wolverine, and Cyclops just blasts it. Duck, Wolverine. Archon's pulling another lightning bolt. It blasted out. All right, Nightcrawler. Kurt Wagner is about to do something. So I zapped Archon's lightning bolt, but the energy backlash didn't phase him. So here comes Kurt, strangling him, and he throws a lightning bolt, kazam, at Cyclops. Here comes Surrender, and notice he's taking a yellow one, and he throws and hits Storm, and his aim is perfect. The one instant Storm is there. The next she is an Ororo. That's Storm's real name, Ororo Monroe. As if a great yawning pit has suddenly opened in 5 hearts, this terrifying turn of events numbs their souls with grief and that transcends pain. So, murderer! So here comes Nightcrawler, just kicking him in the face. Give him a kick, Kurt. Make up for your lack of action. Kick in the face. Whoop! As I smash the phone in my dire excitement. And he throws a Nightcrawler. He throws a lightning bolt at Nightcrawler, who bamfs. And when he teleports, he opens a portal to like another dimension, and this like sulfuric smoke comes out, so it stinks like bad farts. Bamf. And then he jumps over here and punches him. And Colossus grabs his foot and smashes him into the water and rips out a tree. Wolverine. He's beating up Wolverine. And look at this. Look at that power. Just... Crom. That's definitely a joke, because Crom was the name of Conan's deity that he worshipped. I like that. Jeez, even Wolverine's impressed. Colossus is pissed. Colossus is always like a gentle giant. He's I think at this point he's like 19 years old, farm boy from Siberia, who just was like, just a good, kind, gentle person. He's an artist. He's always drawing and painting and reading poetry and stuff like that. But he's pissed because they all think Storm is dead. That did the trick. He's down. He can't hurt us anymore. Let him be. You know, still good guys. Archon's bones must be nearly as strong as yours, Wolverine. Nothing's broken, and he's not for long. Do your worst, human. I've done my duty to my people and my world. I am prepared to die. Why'd you come here? So now they got him down, and they're talking. Okay. Bad, you're bluffing. I have faced your kind and your coward's code of ethics before. You will not harm me. He goes, say that in 50 seconds, bub, if you're able. Is this a bluff, Psych? Of course. Does Wolverine know that? Watch it, Wolverine. Don't hurt him yet. And then Nightcrawler grabs all the lightning bolts. And he's like, what is this? He threw red and black bolts at us, but the only gold one he threw at Storm, and she disappeared. According to those Avengers, those physicists had been teleported Archon's world. Perhaps the same thing happened to Storm. Care to comment? No? Well, I think Storm is alive. And we're going after her, Banshee. Hold the fort. If we haven't returned by morning, notify the Avengers and the FF. So, I wish I would be going with you. So do I. Cross your fingers. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, I'm up to 26 minutes, so I'll do the next chapter tomorrow night. Okay? So, it is a little preview of tomorrow's Land of Shadow, Dawn of Death. Look at that great splash page. But that's spoiling. Okay, so I hope you like this. This is such a good comic. Oh my God. I 5th grade, I think I was reading this. I remember passing it around in 5th grade and reading. This has to be a new copy. There's no way this is just so nice. All those comics in that folder got destroyed. Well, anyway, I digress. Please like the videos. Please share the videos. My subscriber rate isn't going anywhere. There you go. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.